some motivation, talk about some meditation, talk about some inspiration. If it's not motivation, meditation, or inspiration, I don't want it. As we start working on our challenges, as we start putting ourselves in a place, as we start to get down with our mentality, we start getting down with our challenges, we start asking ourselves the questions that nobody else can, that nobody else will. So what are the types of challenges you're facing off against today? I get online every day. I do this every single day. And what's the reason why I do this just about every day? It's because your mentality comes from within you. It comes from your ability to simply sit down with yourself, to simply be who you are on the inside, and to start to allow your challenges that you face off against to become overcome. And so, what kind of challenges are you facing off against today? What are the things that, when you sit in front of yourself, when you start to ask yourself the question, when you start to be who you are on the inside, and you start to see that what is coming out of you is actually vibrating, what is coming out of you is actually being utilized? Each of us who sits down in a position or a profession or inside has got to ask themselves at a certain point, am I doing what is bringing me closer to my goals? Am I doing what's bringing me closer to my dreams? Am I putting myself in a place where my level of mentality is radiating outwards, where the being within me is starting to be utilized, the challenges within me? And on a daily, I usually do these videos to prepare myself for meditation. I prepare myself by putting time aside to overcome those kinds of challenges, to sit down to where energy becomes important, to where what's going on inside is greater than what's going on around us, right? And each of us has that kind of a place where we seek it out inside of ourselves, where our daily, before we start our positions, before we start our mentality, before we start our ability within ourselves. And so, how do we utilize it? How do we put ourselves in a place where we give ourselves that kind of permission, where we sit down at a point where what we have inside is greater than the challenges that we're facing off against? And a lot of people don't ask that question. They don't put themselves in a place where they have that ability, where what they're facing off against, they're starting to overcome. And the question is why? Why do people not give themselves that place? Why do they not sit inside of their challenges? Why do they not face off against them? Why do they not give themselves the permission to be who they are on the inside? Why do they stop themselves from having that kind of mentality? And so each challenge that we face off against, that we work through, we see that on the other side of the challenge is you. On the other side of the things that you work through is you. See, when you're in a position where you feel like you can't do anything, when you get into your mentality, you truly can. When you get into your ability to be who you are on the inside, you start to vibrate light outwards. You start to vibrate from within you. And so, how do we use that mentality at such a level that our focus becomes a foundation? How do we start to use that place inside of ourselves to where we are positive, where the challenges that we make it through, we have the ability to, where our professions, our homes, the places where we put ourselves and the things that we put our energy into, we start to utilize, right? And each of us has challenges, yeah? Each of us has things that that when you start to work at them, you can overcome them. When you start to work at them, your mentality starts to kick in. And it's in that place that reflection starts to become utilized. It's in that place where profession starts to come out from within you. It's when you're so focused that the challenges that you face off against, you have the ability to overcome. And that's the place where we find ourselves pretty often. We find ourselves in a place where we're asking the question, is this something that I want to do? Is this someone that I want to become? Is this something that I want to face off against? And each of us has to ask that question within ourselves, within our being, within our purpose. How do you utilize that on your journey? How do you utilize that on your path? How does it work to be yourself? How do you start to find that who you are inside you can use, right? And if you're fighting some challenges in your life right now, if you're in a place where the things that you were looking to have happen didn't happen, if you're in a place where your focus is being tested, where your being is in existence, where your presence has a purpose, where your path has a part of your journey. Where do you lay? What foundations do you have inside of you? What does it take for you to be who you are on the inside, And looking at around and looking at the challenges that we're facing off against, each individual can achieve it. Each individual can become it. Each individual can put themselves in a place where their mentality is an able mentality, where their ability is an able ability, where their challenges can be overcome, where who they are inside radiates light outwards, where their purpose has a place where their challenges can be overcome. And that is only once they start looking inside of themselves. It's only once they start asking themselves. It's only once they get to the place where they have a mentality, where they have an ability, where they get down with what's going on within them, right? And so what's going on in your life? What challenges are you faced off against? Where do you seek refuge within you? I would enjoy your comments, your words, and your connections on the WordPress, the YouTube, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Periscope. And I would really enjoy where you connect in the universe, what level of focus you use, what place you go within yourself where you start to use the person that you are inside, where what you have inside of you starts to use your level of focus. Because each of us have one. We have one part of ourselves that asks the question, can I do this? Can I achieve this? Can I become this? Do you let that part inside of you grow? Do you let that part inside of you become a part of who you are? Do you sit down at a point where people start to seek out you? They start to seek out your mentality. They start to seek out your profession, your abilities to achieve things that others can't. Do they see that a part of you? Does it radiate that kind of light? And you see, each of us has a place within ourselves. It's up to us to find it. It's up to us to go through it. It's up to us to face off against it. It's up to us to overcome our own challenges, to find that what we have going on inside, that we're greater than those challenges, to find that what we have inside is from within our mentality. It's from within our ability. It's when you do that for yourself, when you give yourself that place, when you give yourself that kind of permission, when you give yourself that ability to focus to the point where what's not yours has the ability to shed itself, what's not yours has the ability to move out of its way, when you are truly radiating light outwards, when you are truly using the person that you are inside, the person that you're not has the ability to move out of the way. The person that you're not has the ability to bring you closer to positivity, bring you closer to self-honesty, bring you closer to being who you are on the inside. And this is what it's about. It's about you being you. It's about you facing off against your challenges. It's about you recognizing that you have what it takes within you, that you are a blessing in this universe, that your challenges aren't there to stop you, that you can go beyond your challenges, that you can go beyond the things that would stop you from growing, that you can go beyond the things that would stop you from being who you are on the inside. And so, how did I start to realize that focus was important? When the challenges that we face off against are not greater than what's going on inside of ourselves. Right? I'm looking out right now at the window and I'm seeing a snowed in time. I'm seeing a snowed in ability. I'm seeing an ability to grow. I'm seeing an ability to go within. I'm seeing an ability for us to see these kinds of challenges. Do you see those challenges as a time of growth? Do you see them as a time of inner work, of inner mentality, of inner being, of inner focus? See what I'm saying? Creating a foundation in what you want to become, come from within you, come from within your grind, come from within your ability to free yourself, to free your mind. And a lot of us stop from that page. We stop from that ability. We stop from those kinds of challenges. We pull ourselves back from what brings us closer to who we are. We pull ourselves back from going within ourselves. We pull ourselves back from facing off against the challenges that we go through, instead of facing off against them one by one, by putting positivity in a place of simplicity, by putting positivity in a place of what you're seeking out, and putting positivity in a place where you create a foundation within yourself, where your being starts to vibrate light outwards, where your level of understanding starts to come from within you. See, each of us have to seek that part. We have to seek that place. We have to seek that ability inside of ourselves, where what we're asking ourselves is it worth it? Is what you're doing today worth your energy? Is it worth your focus? Is it bringing you closer to yourself? Is it bringing you closer to your mentality? And is it bringing you closer to your ability to go within you? And I was just asked a question, who sleeps on that top bunk? And when I'm not sleeping on the floor, which I do a lot, hello, blessings. I'm getting a lot of hits here on Periscope. You guys are welcome to call in. We are having a conversation about mentality. and the ability to go within oneself to use your challenges to your advantage. And a lot of people are letting their challenges become stronger than they are. And that's not what it's about. You know, whatever time you're in, whatever place you're in, whenever you're hearing this message, I do. So whenever you're hearing this message, what recognize that this time isn't different than any other time. It's where your mentality lays. If you take two people to a lake, one person can be absolutely in a positive place. You take another person, they're absolutely miserable, even though they're looking at the lake. Even though they're in a place where their ability inside of themselves is starting to come out. So how do we put ourselves in a place where we see the lake, where we actually see the beauty that is around us, where we start to see that part of ourselves start to grow, right? And so it all starts within yourself. It doesn't start when you go to the lake. It starts before you go to the lake. It starts when you start using the skills that you have. It starts when you use the gifts that you have inside of yourself, where the person who you are inside, the mentality that you have inside starts to show up. And so if we see that challenges, they come for us all. They come for us to actually embrace them. They come for us to have the ability to make it through them. That without challenges, in fact, there is no growth. So with challenges, we find that what we have inside starts to come out. What we have inside starts to become a blessing. And how do you utilize that? Well, I have found for myself that when I write things down, when I put them in front of myself to where I have the ability to work on them, and I know this at least works for myself, I'm not sure about other people. However, what I have realized is that what we study, we get to keep, okay? And a perfect example is those people that go to school to receive a high level of education, right? So you go to school to become a doctor, for instance. When you get that degree, when you get that piece of paperwork isn't really what does it. What does it is you. Your level of focus, your level of ability, your level of mentality. And so, are we giving ourselves that kind of ability to use our mentality? Are we focusing to the point where what we have inside we are able to overcome, right? And so, how do we study to that level ourselves? Well, study skills is a class that we learn in school, right? So how do you use your own skills to study you? How do you sit down with yourself to focus to the point where you allow the negativity to work its way out of your life? How do you sit down with yourself to the point where you're using that kind of ability, where that kind of focus starts to come from within you? How do you start to see that kind of challenge starts to become overcome, right? And so it's inside of your mentality that you start to do it. It's inside of who you are on the inside. You see, that kind of a challenge that you're facing off against today, that you might feel is different than any other time that you are going through, it's just asking you if you can see the equation to give yourself the ability to overcome that challenge. It's just asking you if you have what it takes within you. And a lot of us hold ourselves back at that point. We hold ourselves back at that ability. And the reason why is because they don't teach you in school to focus on yourself, to focus on your journey, to focus on your path. They don't teach you to go within you to find the answers, to go within you to become who you are on the inside, to speak your mind, to be who you are even when the things are challenging. And that is why positivity works. Positivity works because who you are on the inside, who you are in the inside, has had to wake up on a daily basis. So I've just been asked a question about meditation. So the answer to this question is not necessarily just going to be a singular way. So you got to let me go ahead and explain this. The question I ask is, when do you find time for meditation? So every day that you wake up, the minute you wake up, you breathe your first breath, of that day that you start your day. So it starts with how you start your day. And so in the world of meditation, it goes like this. First, you find a foundation for the morning, then you find a grounding for the evening. And so the answer to your question is, the first thing I do every day is I do a video talking about focus, knowledge, and discipline, motivation, meditation, and inspiration. The time that I find to do my videos after I speak my mind for an hour. Then I sit down for an hour, then I do meditation, then I start my day. So that is how I find time to do meditation. I make it the first things that I do every day, because the whole entire day is meditation. Your whole entire being is meditation. So how comes from the ability to put yourself first. When you put yourself first, when you put yourself in a place where you're utilizing that part of who you are on the inside, that is when you're utilizing meditation. See, a lot of people don't give themselves that kind of time to sit down inside and to find a place of focus as a reflection of motivation. Time to sit down and have self-study, time of meditation, time of discipline, which is a time of inspiration, my friends. So what is it that you discipline your mind into? You see, that is the questions that when we ask ourselves those types of questions, we start to find the answers within ourselves, within our being, within our own journey, within our own purpose. And that is why focusing on positivity is so important, because what you focus into, you get to keep. The results come out that you want the A in the class, but yet you don't want to study. You don't want to take the class, but you want the certification. It's when you want to become that kind of mentality that you get to keep it. You get to keep the results of not focusing. You get to keep the results of focusing as well. And so, how do we get to the place inside of ourselves where we're using that kind of technology, that kind of mentality, that kind of blessing within ourselves that we already are? So how do we start to ask those kinds of questions to where we're using those kinds of challenges. And so each challenge that we face off against, each thing that we go through, each part of who we are, each part of our mentality, each part of our ability, each part of who we are inside, okay? Who you are on the inside is important. Who you are when challenges come, who you face off against when other people won't give you the ability to be who you are. And we each have a part of ourselves where we use those kinds of challenges. Yeah? It's when we decide to see where Oprah Winfrey saw. For each action, there's an equal and opposite. If you seek out positivity, don't be surprised when challenges come. If you seek out positivity, don't be surprised when you have the ability to overcome your challenges, yeah? Because it's what you're seeking after. It's what you're focusing into, where you're putting your energy, where you're putting your level of focus, where you're putting your ability to go within yourself, where what you have going on, you have the ability to overcome. And so, how do you find that kind of place where what you're going through no longer has the ability to affect you? How do you find that kind of place to where what kind of challenges you face off against you can overcome? And you see, each challenge that we go through, each part of who we are, each part of what we work through, each challenge that you go through, you get to keep. It's up to you to keep the positivity. It's up to you to keep searching out positivity. It's up for you to become that person who the universe uses as that kind of tool, who uses for that kind of path, for that kind of journey. So, are you on that path with your mentality? Are you giving yourself that place where negativity has the ability to move out of the way for you? Has the ability to move out of the way within you? See, the two people are at the lake. And the one is positive. The other is missing the beauty. Do you see your own journey? Do you see your own path? Do you ask yourself the questions that bring you close to your growth? Do you want to achieve light within you? Do you want to achieve a place where you become a tool within the universe? Do you want to connect on such a level that other people seek you out? Other people seek out your mentality. Other people seek out your ability. Where other people, the questions that they ask, they're there for you. See, each of us has a place inside of ourselves where we can become that kind of student in our lives, where we can become that kind of student in our level of focus, where we can become that kind of student in the abilities to be ourselves. We got to ask that question that nobody else will. Are you focusing past your challenges? Are you putting yourself in a place where you utilize your challenges? Are you going to the place where nobody else will go, where nobody else can go for you? And that is the place within you. That is the place where you are. And so how do we get down with ourselves at that kind of level? Do we connect as a community? Do we connect within ourselves? Do we start to believe in ourselves? Do we start to believe in our ability? Do we start to believe in our challenges? Do we start to believe in our mentality? And how do we enable that mentality? How do we put the gifts, the tools, the skills that we've used to study to the ability for us to become? How do we sit down at a level where we're asking the thoughts in our minds? We're asking the person within ourselves, where we're brainstorming on the ideas that we have the ability to be who we are. That we have the ability to manifest within our beings. See, that's your thought process at work, my friends. When you see that you can be a creator of your universe, where you can be a creator of your understanding, that you can be a blessing within this universe, that you can be a blessing within your challenges, that you can be a blessing within your being. And that is why energy is important. See, Robert Kiyosaki understood that a statement from Robert was, emotion is nothing less than energy in motion. So let's suppose a play on that. So are your emotions a form of energy? Where do you focus your energy into? What is it that you put your energy into? What is it that when you go within yourself starts to create emotion? Get it? Emotion. Energy in motion. And is that energy inside of you? Are those emotions very real? Are those places of focus where you go to the point where you see within yourself, where your challenges that you thought that you couldn't overcome, you start to overcome? I think about a recent situation. I think about a time when I had a vehicle that broke down on me on the side of the road. I look at a period now, in a time where things were meant to happen at that time. They were meant to be a part of that path. They were meant to be a part of that purpose. That happened for a reason. That understanding comes from within. That the ability to focus to the point where we're using those kinds of challenges, where the challenges that we face off against, we start to overcome. Let me go ahead and read you guys a Bruce Lee quote. Every situation in life is temporary, so when life is good, make sure you enjoy and receive it in full. And when life is not so good, remember it will not last forever, and better days are on the way. So do you let those days come where you have better days? Do you give yourself the place where you can see Bruce Lee's statement here as a recognizing that they are happening for your growth, that they are happening for your ability to overcome them, that you're embracing your challenges, that your vibration within yourself comes from your mentality, it comes from the ability for you to be who you are, for you to face off against the things that you face off against, that you can go to the place within yourself where your mentality has a place of growth, where your ability inside of you has the ability to face off against your challenges, that you can believe in yourself, that who you are on the inside has a purpose, that the energy, the emotion, the knowledge, the focus inside of yourself has a place to grow. See, these are the types of challenges that I look at. These are the ways in which I view the universe. I view the universe as a tool. I view the knowledge within oneself as the ability to overcome, to understand, to gain a higher level of one's understanding, to gain a higher level of one's reflection, to gain a higher level of connection to where the universe has the ability to use your gifts, where the universe has the ability to use your mentality, where the universe has the ability to use who you are. And who are you unless you spend time studying you? Unless you sit down with yourself and you start to get down with your challenges. See, I watch the growth. I watch the people who hear these videos, and I'm out there for you, my friends. I'm out there to build a community of people who believe in themselves, who go beyond their challenges, who find ways to make it past the things that, other people would stop, that would go to the point where the growth comes from within oneself, where liberation lays, where freedom within you is. See, it is written that we are sons and daughters of the Most High, and that the understanding within oneself has a place within the universe. Lean not into your own understanding, yeah? How about this one? Lean into the understanding in the universe that may bring one closer to the understanding of their path and journey. When do you remember your journey? When do you remember your path? When do you put yourself in a place where it isn't about selfishness for you to be you? It isn't about selfishness for you to make it through your challenges. It isn't about selfishness for you to be an inspiration. It isn't about selfishness for you to be the top salesman in your profession. It isn't selfishness for you to allow only positivity to become a part of your life. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Are you hearing what I'm throwing down? That you can achieve that place where you can believe in yourself. You can believe in your being. You can believe in your path, your journey, your purpose. And that other people can become uplifted because you came along, because you have a gift inside of you, that you are a blessing, that uplifting other people is about becoming blessings on the face of this planet. We each have a purpose. We each are beautiful in our own way. We each have things to work on and things to work through. And places that people need you. People that need you for who you are on the inside. They need you for the beauty that you have. They need you for the voices that you have, for the mind that you have, for the liberation within oneself, the liberation within one's being, the liberation within one's purpose, within one's place of challenge. Hearing what I'm saying? When you overcome your challenges, when you get to the place where the lessons within you start to open up, where the stories within you, where the student and the teacher within oneself start to believe, then the opening within oneself starts to find a purpose. It starts to find a path. It starts to find a journey. It starts to find that you have what it takes. Because you do have what it takes to be yourself. You do have what it takes to believe in yourself. You do have what it takes when you hear what I'm saying, when you hear the method that I'm talking about, the ability to focus beyond one's challenges, to get to the place where what you have inside is possible, where what you have inside is there for you, that you can go beyond one's challenges when you go within. You can go beyond one's pain when you go within. You can go beyond one's emotion. Energy and motion becomes possible. And that is when you find a focus. You find a focus within yourself when you're willing to open yourself up. When people ask, how is it possible to get to the place where what you're using inside has a priority? Have you ever put yourself first in life? That's the question you should ask yourself, instead of how do you find time to do meditation? Have you ever put yourself in a place where you have the ability inside of you? Have you ever put yourself in a place where your challenges start to become overcome? Have you ever put yourself in a place where you believe in you? See, a lot of people lack in the ability to give themselves time because they don't put themselves in a place where they make sure they have time for themselves first. And then years later they look back and they say, well, I recognize that I did not give myself the time, and now I'm running out of time. Ooh, are those words of self study. Ooh, are those words of why didn't you get to the place of discipline? Why didn't you sit down with yourself? Why didn't you give yourself the time as the time runs out? I look from the page. If I'm gonna have something, it's gonna come after I've given myself enough time. After I've put myself in the place where I'm using my challenges. After I've put myself in the place where the mentality comes out from within. After the ability inside of oneself to go beyond one's challenge. See, each challenge that you face off against, each part of who you are on the inside, that comes from within you. When do you start to apply that to your life? When does your knowledge and your focus start to become a part of you? When do you give yourself permission to take over your challenges? And it's really from within that we radiate light outwards. It's from within our knowledge and our focus. So when somebody tells me I really can't find that inner being, what they're really telling me is I haven't sat down and studied. When they're telling me that my challenges are too much for me, it's because they're not putting the time aside for themselves first. One of those places is in diet. If you look back through my videos, if you go back through my videos, you can go all the way back and you will see in my videos shakes. You will see that I am consistent on the ability that the result will come from within. I'm consistent that the ability on the mentality comes from within. I'm consistent that the belief that our energy within ourselves is within our control. It's within our ability to get to the place where we can become that kind of energy within the universe. Where it isn't about this is good or this is bad. It's about this is positive in my life. These changes are only coming because it's bringing me closer to who I am on the inside. I don't believe in change. I believe in honesty and positivity. That when you bring yourself towards the things that you choose are positive, until you see the positivity in the angle, that is when you start to seek it out. And that's why when you seek out positivity, positivity seeks you out. And I see you across the web. I see you across the world. I see you from the places from here to Germany to I see you. I see you in India hearing these videos. I see you in all those parts of the world that are viewing these videos and viewing these kind of mentality. And I see these kind of understanding, and I see this kind of purpose where what we're using on the inside starts to radiate light outwards, where what our purpose inside is to overcome our challenges. And it's only when you start to embrace them, it's when you start to see that your challenges are bringing you closer to yourself. They're bringing you closer to the ability for positivity to come in your direction. See, when my car was broken down on the side of the 17, when we were waiting for a tow, I knew that this day would be here, and at this point where utilizing it with that kind of mentality is that it will overcome. See, sometimes we sit in that place where we don't recognize our level of discipline. And sometimes our discipline gets broken down to where we have to step back in the room. We have to step back in the place where we use what we have, where we step back in the place where what we're going through, we have the ability to overcome. And each of us has permission to do so, has permission to complete our challenges, has permission to go within oneself, to ask one's questions, to get to that point where what is it that you are facing off against today? You see, your challenges are meant to be embraced, my friends. Your level of discipline comes when you use that focus and that knowledge at that point where you overcome your fears, your pains, and your emotions. When you start putting that energy in a place where knowledge and focus becomes discipline. You are a place of discipline. You're a place of practice, you're a place of profession, and you are a place of perfection, just the way you are, just with the challenges that you face off against, just with the things that you go through. And are you embracing it? Are you truly embracing your ability? Are you truly embracing your being? Are you truly embracing your path and your journey? Are you truly embracing your purpose within yourself, where your being starts to light up, where your understanding starts to radiate light outwards, where what you're going through, you have the ability to overcome. See, when discipline is applied, we call it inspiration, because knowledge and focus to being the one whole self, being who you are on the inside, is a blessing. When you use that blessing, when you use that person inside of you, when you truly use that level of connection with yourself, where you might be hearing this message and you might be in a profession, and you're focusing and you're trying to get the knowledge from the situation, you're trying to get the connection. Are you putting your whole self into it? Are you putting your whole being into the person that you are, into the challenges that you face off against? Have you asked yourself that question about this? Is what I'm doing today, is the level of discipline that I'm bringing, is it uplifting other people for me to be me? Is my positivity bringing the challenges to become overcome? Is that where I am inside? Am I going beyond those kinds of challenges to where I have what it takes? And when we start to sit in a place of discipline where a reflection starts to radiate from knowledge and focus, where the connection of the two come together, we start to understand that we have what it takes. Okay? And with an understanding that the universe has the ability to use you, has the ability to use your challenges, has the ability to use your applied knowledge, we call this a place of inspiration. Because other people start to see you and all the things that you are going through, and all the things that you are facing off against, and all the things that others might have called impossible, and they start to see it as a connection within you. And we see this place when we see somebody who goes after it with their whole entire being. Like, for instance, in the Olympics. We know we have nobody else to compare against except for the people against us, and they are performing at a high level, yeah? And so, what is it that brings you to that emotion, to where that inspiration comes out of seeing that person run over that line? Is it that they put their knowledge and focus, their time, their test to practice, or profession, or to purpose? And the answer is definitely yes. That's what they're doing. They're putting their profession to the test against the highest end in their profession. And when one believes at that level, where they become so disciplined that this becomes a place of discipline, then it is when the universe starts to utilize you. When the universe starts to see your challenges, when the universe starts to use what you have inside, starts to use the being that you are, starts to use the challenges that you face off against, starts to use the mentality that you have. And it's on a daily basis that we are challenged with that place to ask ourselves, when you go to your jobs, are you performing at a high level? Are you accepting what you signed up for? Are you putting yourself in a place that this is positive because I'm going to make it positive, and the negativity has the way to move out of its way on its own? Are you using your challenges in such a way that what you're facing off against you start to overcome? And it really takes that place inside of you to where you see the light as your friend. You start to see your journey as your friend. You start to see your purpose as your friend. You start to see your path when your knowledge and your focus starts to get connected to the place where what's coming out of you is there for you. We are blessings, my friend. We have challenges, we have things that we work through, we have places that we're looking to go, we have knowledge and focus which is looking to be applied. Positivity only, okay? Where we are using them as they are using us as well. See, for each action there's an equal and opposite. So are you becoming that positivity? Are you becoming that part inside of the universe where you are using your challenges to your advantage, where you are becoming a light in the universe, where your purpose is becoming applied? You know what they call wisdom? They call wisdom applied knowledge. See, discipline is knowledge and focus connected to the point of a reflection of inspiration. That is the true inspiration of the universe, that we are universal, that we have a universal purpose, that anywhere that you go on the face of the planet, you are still going to be yourself, that you have a date that you were born, that you have a path, and that you have a journey, and that you can achieve high levels of success within yourself. You can achieve high levels of success around you. You can be who you are, and the things that you go through, you will overcome. What a blessing it is when challenge becomes overcome with the knowledge that you have. Look at the professions that you carry. Look at the places that you go and the things that you go through. Those things that you go through, are they meant to bring you closer to yourself? Are they bringing you closer to it? Or are they things that you need to allow to move out of your way? Are you disciplined to that point where what you're utilizing, you are truly utilizing? See, we each have the ability to use inspiration to uplift each other from self-honesty within oneself, with self-knowledge, with self-purpose, with self-ability to go within. Each of us have a place to light up in the universe to ask ourselves the question, am I becoming a motivation? Am I becoming an inspiration? Am I becoming a meditation within my being? Applied knowledge, focus, and discipline. My friends, hear what I'm saying. If you want to be the best in your profession, if you want to be the best in your companionship, if you want to be the best in your place of knowledge, gain access to your being, gain access to your vibration, and gain access to your level of understanding within yourselves. What a blessing it is for us to have these kinds of challenges. What a blessing it is for us to have this place within ourselves where we can sit down and face off against the things that nobody else can for you. When do you embrace it? As I close, I just want to leave you all with a blessing. I want to say blessings to all as closing with Namaste.